Oh, it doesn't.
Good morning. Welcome to AMAI. We're doing an
Here we are.
app snack on GetCreatr. And Justin hasn't seen this. He's pulling it up right now so that he can see it for the first time.
Yeah.
I think he is going to be very impressed by this concept.
All right, let's take a look. Ship your products faster. Idea to products in 100 seconds. Okay, that seems like a big claim. Especially considering you put the exclamation point in between the D and the S. Doesn't inspire a ton of confidence, but we'll keep reading. Enhance product workflow, accelerate development by swiftly communicating to stakeholders, tailor PRDs, create dynamic wireframes, usable designs, yada, yada, yada. Still don't know what this does yet. Edit designs in real time. No personalized co-pilot. Real-time previews, intelligent feedback integration. Still don't know what this does yet. Speed up your workflow. Streamline product development. Okay. I know that it's about product development. What does it, is this a project management system? Is this a design tool?
It is a little
What
bit
is,
about what you've said you wanted to build.
um,
So,
the ability to like create things
yeah,
based on kind of a description, like a spec?
yeah. Let's see if you can log in, type app in front of the domain.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can log in.
Justin.
Okay. Well, speaking of my name, um, I work at Google. Yeah, let's just say that. You don't
So,
need to know where.
so
Okay.
yeah. I knew you would start to like this.
Hmm. All right. Let me just
Wrap your head around it.
search. Um, let's come up with an idea. An app for keeping track of places you like, or track of places you want to try. Might be an app that I built once. Users can sign up, find restaurants or places via search, and save them to a list to try later. When they save them, they should be able to add a comment as well. These lists of places should be public, linked from their profile, like a social network. Okay, we're gonna see what happens with that. This might
So,
be an app that I built 12 years ago.
I vaguely remember.
Hmm. Okay, so now we have like the details of this.
The PRDs. Yep.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, that's like not terrible for 5 seconds.
Not terrible for no, it really isn't actually.
That's I
It
when I
really
saw this, I was
isn't.
like, shit, Justin is really gonna want to try this. So it's taking that high level and now creating the PRD. For those who don't know, PRD stands for Product Requirement Document.
Mhm.
And it looks like we had 100 credits, I think, at the beginning, and we went down to 95.
Oh yeah, the Zoom thing is covering that up. Okay, so we used 5 credits so far. Well, that's not bad. We can do this 20 times.
Well, the PRD, I assume, is going to take like 20 credits.
Oh, okay, so maybe, yeah.
Not, maybe not. But this is a concept that Justin has talked about with me, at least privately, is the idea of taking AI and training it to the point where you can basically do some simple explanations and then generate wireframes.
Yep.
Now, what this one has done is just taken those simple explanations and added a step in between to do a PRD, which I don't hate. Right, as a product guy, I do like a
Mhm.
good PRD. So one of 7 has been created. So this may take a little while. And so while that is going, I saw them on Product Hunt, Justin.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
they had a little bit of a video, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. Um, and the thing about a lot of these is there's a lot of really bad attempts at this. Um, but if I go back to Product Hunt and just take a look and see,
There are some really bad attempts at this.
yes, uh,
And you have to wonder, right? Like it to some degree, it comes down to the prompting and how they're structuring the interaction with the AI, right?
yep,
Really interesting.
there. I mean, this isn't for a Product Hunt style. This isn't a massive amount, but there are 551 people following the project. Um,
When did this come out on Product Hunt?
I am looking for the date, and I do not see it. I'm assuming it was last week, and it was not one of the chosen ones, if you will. But it's one when you look at it on Product Hunt, it's like, hey, their alternative products are Chat PRD, right? And so, um, and I have experimented personally with creating, chat prompts to help do PRDs, and I sent
Yep.
them to my some of my old product managers, so that to kick them off in their initial usage of OpenAI. Um,
I will tell you, I mean, this is taking a while. It's going to be interesting to see how much it's going to create. I mean, it's got to be creating a just shit ton, which is interesting because the token cost of this is not cheap. Now, it's probably using 3.5 or their own model.
um,
So maybe they aren't incurring token, they may not be using OpenAI. This is the other thing is that like when we see more and more of these open source models like Llama and stuff like that, there are going to increasingly be ways to get around the token cost.
but the flip side is, you know, um, they're capping you at 100 credits, right? So what they're counting on is the idea that they can convert you with a certain dollar amount of credits
Mm.
that they're essentially giving you. So this is not very far off of a lot of companies which gave you $5 or $10 just to sign up. PayPal
That's fair. That's
physically
fair. Yeah,
gave you five
that's fair.
dollars.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean the while we're waiting on this, right? Like the economics of that are relatively simple, which is that you have a thing called cost to customer acquisition, right? And you have a number generally that you can either know or that you can guess about, which is how much money it takes for you to um, buy a customer essentially that converts and pays. And for direct to consumer apps, often that number is going to be in hundreds of dollars. So it will cost you hundreds of dollars to acquire a single customer for some direct to consumer apps, right? So you can easily spend $20 giving away stuff to them if you believe that it will attract them more inexpensively. You could say, we'll give you $50 worth of free credit. It still works out to your advantage because it ends up being less expensive than the direct marketing costs.
Yeah. So in um, we are not going to read this whole thing. I will
We're
tell
not
you,
going to read this whole thing.
it's got a lot of the right pieces.
Interesting. And should look at the competitive analysis.
Yeah, an open table. I mean, I love open table
Never
personally.
even heard of the infatuation app. That's a brand new thing for me.
Persona development,
Wow, look at that.
user flows and sitemaps and mind maps. I mean, guys, this is pretty legit looking. Now, again, It looks legit on first blush. If you were to dive deep, I'm sure we would find some issues, but generally, this is the right kind of thing you would expect.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Um,
Wow. I mean, look at this, a Gantt chart for, oh man, let's see. What kind of crazy town are they in here? This is a marketing timeline.
yeah, and it's using Mermaid. So, what's nice is you could probably go to the edit with AI and say, "Give me the mermaid for that," so you could copy and edit it, right? So, like, this is really
Yeah.
neat. But we don't need to do that. I would go to the next steps. So, like, scroll all
Yeah,
the way to the
let's
bottom.
go to the next step. So, oh, there is no,
Keep going.
I
All
think
right.
I
So,
have to go over here. Here we go.
oh hell yeah! Just click a couple
Let's do this one.
and 3 and 4.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I don't really care about authentication because,
that's
oh, only 2 features support in free trial. That's fun.
okay. Again, that's a great like call to action to upgrade. So far, like their actual design and process is pretty on point.
Yeah, it really is. Your prompts have been submitted and your application is being built, right? So this is an asynchronous.
And by the way, that went from 95 to 65 the second you click the wireframe.
So 30, so 15 per feature, per wireframed feature, if you will. Yeah.
Um, so far, we've tested a lot of these. They are
Yeah.
not all very good at telling you what to do next.
No.
Even this one, I actually think they would have benefited on the bottom saying, if you're happy with this PRD, go to the wireframe, right? Like they could have upgraded that flow a little bit, but so far they've done a very good job on the actual design and implementation of this.
Yeah. Yeah, they really have. They really have. I mean, yeah, this part here is what I'm super curious about. Um, I'm also curious, and I don't know how long this is going to take to create the wireframe. So we may have to come back and look at this. I don't know if it'll be able to create this in the time that we're sitting here, but one of the things that I'm interested to kind of also know is what format these wireframes get created in and what type of post processing you can do to them. Because if they're just static images and they're not right, it won't be terribly useful. But if
Correct.
they're vectorized
Well, let's take a
and
look.
you could go in and tweak them to get the last mile correct, then you might have something here.
Well, I'm going to go to their website and see if it says anything about it. It says edit designs in real time, which would
Okay.
presume to
That
be
would
vector.
presume that it is going to kick out some type of vector representation of this, which, to be fair, I think is the correct way to do this. And actually, probably if you're going to make a generator like this, vector is going to, at the end of the day, be a better way to do this.
Yeah. So look,
Um,
just looking at their website, it starts as tailored PRDs, dynamic wireframes, um, with low and high fidelity wireframes doing detailed user flows. Then it goes to a collaborative interface. Bring your team on board, share, collaborate, and brainstorm in a unified space. And then real time previews, visualize
Here
changes.
we go.
Holy cow.
Okay. So these are not wireframes.
Well,
Um,
I no, these are like sections with requirements
mhm.
that you have to finalize and continue to get the wireframe.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Okay. So this is like the interstitial step, like kind of essentially a UI
Representation of like the functionality just in text.
yeah, like
Yeah,
summary or
which
whatever.
is acceptable, right? They want to make sure they've got the things in the right spots. I'm going to go ahead and just say click finalize and continue because we want
Yeah,
to
I
see what
think
one.
so too, because I think so. So
Holy cow!
here's like, okay. So, okay.
So they're like, guys, this is complex stuff so far. Again,
It
we didn't
is.
check it to verify any of it, but like that is
We didn't.
complex stuff.
We didn't, but it does give an interesting kind of view into how they're doing this, right? Which is that they are um doing this in these stages, right? They took the PRD and they're turning it into kind of these UI narrative plans, like very coarse sketches. I mean, in the most figurative way possible, of what those screens should be composed of, and now it's going to take those sketches, those kind of definitions of the screen, and now it's going to actually go and piece together the elements. So I'm very curious to see now how it parlays that. I mean, it did a lot of work
In relatively short period of
on
time.
in a relatively short period of time. Yeah. Yeah.
And Justin, I think what they're doing here is really smart. I'm going to take a guess. By doing that and by creating those representation layers in text for each block, what they're doing is they're allowing themselves to call 100 times, right? So they're basically allowing for a multi-threaded process, and they could send each one off now for design separately. And by doing that, one of the things we've talked about is like the less things you ask the AI to do at once, typically the higher the quality of the results, right? And so I think what they're doing is actually trying to say, okay, here's the whole UI, how is it represented, blah 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 blah. Now let's break these into chunks. Here are the chunks. Do you agree with the chunks? If yes, now they can send them off one by one by one, and they can send 7 off at once, right? And so they're actually increasing the speed, because actually the design that they had before, even that was really complicated.
Yep.
And it came back, yeah. So we'd had a couple of minutes of like chatting bullshit, but like that's way faster than a human would have generated those like
Oh,
mind maps.
I mean, that would have taken a human. Let's just assume that it's 80% correct. It would have taken a human
A day, maybe,
a
right? Like
day,
a
a
day.
day to put all of that together. I mean, we're talking about yeah, I didn't count them, but I mean, what were there, 20-ish screens represented there? Let's assume that it takes you 30 minutes to define each screen, thinking about it. Maybe it doesn't take that long, but it probably does on average. Um, that'd be 10 hours. Yeah, you could easily see where you could eat up a whole day
And by the way,
just
it
building
did
that.
2 different flows, right? So there was the search and the save. And so
Okay.
it was way more than 20 screens.
It might have been. Might have been upwards of 30.
But and guys, it doesn't seem like a big deal, because hey, this screen and this screen are essentially the same. You still have to copy and paste and then tweak the state, because when you do
It'll
those,
work.
state representation is really really critical. Hey, after you've clicked this thing changes. Like that's work. And it's definitely work to think about, and also very much work to redesign.
Yep.
So far, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. I mean, I think that this is one of the better apps like this that we've seen so far. Definitely seems like the most well thought out and the most comprehensive, just in terms of how deeply it's thinking,
And
right?
yeah, I mean the way they, I mean, I'm very much a logic workflow kind of person, right? So I just freely admit that. I love seeing app flows. It's something that
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time on with my UX guy, who coincidentally was also named Justin, but not this Justin. And I spent a lot of time working through UX flows, because one of the things we did is we would actually shop those UX flows, right? Like before we built anything, we would
Yep.
shop our flows.
Yep.
And frequently we would have customers prepay based upon the UX flows, because
Hmm.
they're like, oh crap, that makes so much sense. I would
Hmm.
love an app that did that, right? And so UX flows were everything. Well,
Hmm.
generally, what is a UX flow? It's the same thing as like a logic flow. You just So if you can do that, and if your apps can follow a very logical flow, first you do this, then you do this, then you do this, it makes sense to people. I'm so excited to see this. Holy crap.
These are built in Figma. No, they're not built in Figma either. No, they're built in their own thing. Man, I thought for a second they built these in Figma and then embedded the FigJam. Holy
Oh my.
shit.
Oh,
Um,
Justin.
wow. Wow. So,
Is
um,
are they perfect? No, but this is the point. Like we literally have
no, but so here's what I want to know is can I edit these?
click,
The designs are coming soon. They don't have designs yet.
but
Oh, here we go. I bet I can edit this. I say that into your prompt.
change the text too. Oh yeah, so like it's your prompt based editing right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you can't directly edit. You can edit like, so if I,
Wait, click that again. There was a pop up
what?
there. Yeah, just
What?
click a different object and then click this object.
Oh, they have different variations. So you can play around with variations. I don't think they have it for everything.
No, but when you clicked on it the first time, I saw something. Maybe there you go.
Look, using, oh, that's just a help thing.
Oh, that's the text that's below.
Oh no, that's like the annotations.
Yeah, which is below. If you scroll all the way down, there all the annotations were below it. You have to zoom out probably.
Oh yeah, down here. Right. So that's just calling them up when you
But they have segmented them. Like, guys, this is a week of a designer's work, right? Like,
it is every bit of that. It is every bit of that. Um I mean, look at this. This is so yeah, I this is I really wish that I could edit these directly, but I'll tell you what's coming next on this.
design's coming soon. They're clearly going to let you edit these.
They are, and what's going to happen is that they're actually going to make this go straight to Figma, export this to Figma. Then, if they do that, and then if they use components intelligently, this is game over for UX design. If that happens, I feel like.
Like some of these pages are not the best designed. I'm just going ahead and call it out there, but that's okay because
So I mean,
it gives you a
honestly,
starting
though,
point.
yeah, I mean, they're not the best, but honestly,
I've seen
they're
worse.
also not the worst at all. And here's the thing that I think is important to know is that like you could build this entire app that we spec with these screens and it would work and it would be a reasonable experience. And that's a lot because this gets you to MVP real quick. And then you can go iterate on each of these screens as you need to, but
But
pretty interesting.
one of the things
Pretty
I had to work
interesting.
a long time with our UX guy to do was add annotations because in his
Yeah,
mind everything made sense. But this
right.
has like all of them there, and they're
Yeah.
associated with the different like subsections. When you click on one of these, did you see how like it highlights a group of 5 or 6 individual screens? Click on one of the screens like up top.
Uh-huh.
Look, those 4 are performing a search.
Oh, interesting.
Those 4 are
Yeah,
using
so these,
filters, right?
yep,
Like,
these
guys, this
correspond
is
to like
a
an epic.
amazing.
This is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy for sure. Yeah, this is gonna be one to really watch for sure. Yeah, great find.
All
Great find.
right. That is a
Amazing.
blow your mind episode of AMAI AppSnack.
Keep a eye on this space. It's going to be pretty incredible.
And in particular, GetCreatr.xyz.
GetCreatr.xyz.